welcome to We Were Gamers, episode 494. Michael, how you doing?
You know, I am doing all right.
Andy, how's it going?
I am noticing cool new things from Craig about how he works, and I'm doing okay. Yeah,
Great,
all good.
great.
So late Tuesday, but that's okay.
This is the same time every Tuesday.
Oh no! You know what else I just noticed?
Do tell.
It's either Steam or somebody else, but somebody has put an overlay onto my computer without me even noticing until just now.
Steam has always had a little overlay in the corner, but
I don't know if it's Steam or if it's
Discord?
Maybe it's Discord or somebody put. I now have an overlay on the top right, and I don't know what program put it there, so I don't know how to turn it off.
Huh.
What is
the
it?
Windows never ends.
Like, we can figure out probably pretty quick if you tell us what it is.
It's got an FPS, GPU, CPU, and LAT/NA/latency. So it was like some sort of gaming overlay, which would be either Discord or Steam or NVIDIA.
Steam's overlays should only pop up when you run a game.
Okay, so NVIDIA or Discord?
It's probably Discord.
Could be
NVIDIA,
I don't know. I guess.
I don't have I've never turned a display on. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
what a way to start the podcast.
Gotta love the enshittification of services that people use. For which
I'm sure that as soon as I try to turn this off, also it's gonna mess up my microphone or something.
Oh yeah, you can't, bro. This is gonna be an after podcast situation for me. That's not. No. Well, I'm sorry that you've been distracted by an overlay, but it's been an interesting week out here, you guys.
Oh yeah,
What's
been going on?
A bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, like some cool stuff, right? Like the Artemis splashdown happened this past week. That was pretty sweet. Did you guys watch?
That was very cool to watch. I saw them make the re-entry and splash down.
I was texting the group chat, yes, when I said that we were at a large chain sports restaurant.
Yes, you were messaging us.
Okay. I didn't know if it was just you, Michael, or if I texted both, but yeah. That was a fun moment of when I'm trying to show the kids the thing on my phone and the lady's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Actually, could you put it on the TV?" And then slowly watching the restaurant change all the TVs as people started asking for it on their TV was like maybe we're not so far gone moment.
It was broadly popular. I mean, yeah, I work at an aerospace company, so everyone there was pretty interested. But yeah, when we were watching it, it was very funny to me. Working with the government and with governmental agencies and such, they land or they splash down and they're like, oh, she's like, oh, well, let's like keep the stream on. We'll watch them get out. I'm like,
yeah.
Looking at my watch, I'm like, what kind of time you got? I don't know. She's like, what do you mean? They just have the little boats go up there and they'll get out. I'm like, that's not how this will work.
I had to explain a lot of things as people realized we were the ones that had started the chain. People around us were asking us questions, and like when things were happening on the screen, like the gas bleed off that was happening, and so you could see it when they had the infrared camera on, and they're like, oh no, what's happening? Why is there fire coming out the top? I was like, no, they're just bleeding gas. Why are they doing that? I was like, well, so that it doesn't explode when it hits the water.
There's also, all sorts of like important expensive gases in there that they don't want to blow up
or like kill people with the toxicity.
Yeah, all kinds of dangerous stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then they deployed the first parachutes and they're like, it's not slowing down. They're going to hit the water any second. I was like, no. You realize they're like 65 miles in the air, right? They're not going to hit the ground any second. And those are not the regular, those are not the regular parachutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys.
We were listening to the commentary, so they explained that process.
We couldn't listen. Yeah.
Yeah. they're like, and it was a former astronaut who was talking, and he's like, so these chutes are not going to deploy. They're just there to like start the slowing process and then to slow it down enough to pull out the big chutes that'll deploy in ULC. So don't worry when these ones don't, look like anything. And it's like, yeah, definitely. And then they've been floating for a while, and they were trying to call the ship, and they were having trouble with the radios.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is just like me for real. Like I hate the damn radios on our plane. I hate it so much.
This is my life.
There's like, oh, well, we can hear you, but they can't hear them. It's just like, okay, try resetting it. I'm like, dude, same. Yep, this is what I tell people.
Mm-hmm.
Made me laugh. But good on them. Glad they got home safe.
Yeah, wild. I really like having great conversations with people about the cool stuff that they did and the cool stuff that we learned that we probably should have already known, or like why the trajectories of this were so different than Apollo. All really cool. Like, oh, science is fun.
Yeah, it turns out that landing on the moon is hard and a lot of work. The moon's small, sun big, Earth big comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, but the confidence we now have in our understanding of space and physics and all these cool things, where like before you keep the rocket in tight orbit here, and then you keep the capsule in tight orbit here, and then you shoot it directly at the moon and you keep it in tight orbit there so that nobody drifts off into space, right? And now they're kind of like, well, gravity should do this if we like shoot it that way and then kind of like pull it around this way, and then we won't have to use nearly as much gas,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more understanding of orbital mechanics and desire for savings in those directions, right?
Yeah, there's also like advanced computing power that will do more complicated calculations for you of like plotting trajectories and orbits, and you don't have to spend, weeks waiting for your Host 2 is the software that they used for decades, at least the Air Force used to do orbital insertion, and it would converge on solutions, but you might be waiting for the computer to churn for a week to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
then
when you
it would be right,
about, it would be right.
But you didn't, if you want to change something later, then it's another week.
It's another
you
week.
may not have that time.
Right. And so
Right.
you're talking about straight shot there, Andy, that frequently would be the simplest solution and require the least amount of computational effort, right?
Right. Sure.
So, but I thought it was pretty cool, JJ. You sent us that article about the redundancy of all of their software because of how much more they rely on software than hardware now. They need to find ways to survive in, the harsh environment that is the radiation of space. Yeah.
Yeah, not just the software design, but also the hardware design, how the hardware design sort of complements and fails, or not silently in the background as the software does or doesn't fail. And it's really interesting. That stuff is stuff that like was super interesting to me. I like directly work with systems that look not like that, but work in functions like this and have those sorts of safety needs.
Mm-hmm.
Not to the same degree that is, where like, if I get this wrong, people are going to go drifting off into space and die.
Right.
But it's definitely a consideration, right? Like the system they had set up is very different from the ones we work with. And so it's like, oh, well, like why? What are the trade-offs here? Like, oh, pluses and minuses, right? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Their system has a lot more redundancy than the stuff I work with, but it is very interesting, how they designed it and like what choices they made. Well, we want to make sure that, the computers are always working regardless of what happens. We have a whole bunch of different ones all working together, all working on the same problems. And then we just pick the one we like the best. And if that one stops working, we just switch to the next one and it will be at the same point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So very, very interesting. Super cool little article from the ACM. It's like a computer organization.
Very cool.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed that. And I have been continuing to enjoy Slay the Spire 2, which I'm sure does not surprise either of you.
No, I so
not even
wanted
a
to
little
play
bit.
this week too. I hope I have some time. It's looking likely, but we see. I have 1 or 2 more nights heavy work to do, and then I think I have a good break. Have you won
Well,
with the class you haven't won with yet?
I still have the Regent that I have not won with, but I did win a Ascension 1 run with the Ironclad, so now I have that class at Ascension 2.
Oh,
Man, there have been so many runs where, not just with the Regent who I've been trying to with the most, but where I get like really far and then either get just like completely destroyed at the last boss, or I just like run out of steam like partway through the top floor, and you're just like, all right, my deck is rolling through floors 1 and 2, everything is great. Get into floor 3, you're like, all right, and then you hit like a really bad fight, something goes really wrong, and then it's just like, oh, okay, and then just crash and burn, like you can't
Wheels come
sustain.
off.
Yeah, it feels. Andy, you played some Slay the Spire 1, right?
I played a good amount. I don't know off the top of my head, but probably 5 to 10 hours at least. Probably more.
Yeah, 5 to 10 hours. You like scratched the surface. Okay.
No, okay, no, hold on. Then it's got to be more. Yeah, but I played it. Go ahead.
Okay. But that game, it felt like at certain points in that game, and I don't know if you started getting into the Ascensions and like the fourth act stuff and whatever.
No, I did not get into Ascension or Fourth Act, so maybe that is scratching the surface. This says about 10 hours.
Okay, so again, you dabbled, you played all the classes, you got some good times going.
I did do that. I unlocked a lot of the cards, and I played through with each class for sure.
Okay. The win to win a run in Slay the Spire 1 felt easier to do to me than in Slay the Spire 2, but the possibilities were more constrained once it started getting hard. That's how it feels, or it felt to me.
Okay.
That like in the like, especially in the higher ascensions, you're kind of like a few different builds that are really viable in that game. And try to deviate too much from those, you're gonna run into a real bad place. And maybe it's just because I'm not in the higher ascensions yet, and then I don't really know, what's good or what's bad or whatever. But it definitely feels like in Slay the Spire 2, there's a lot more options and you can make a lot more things work. But obviously, as it gets closer to the top, it just becomes straight up harder. Where like, if you weren't being careful earlier on, like no matter how much care you take, you can still just get trampled by, too many elites in a row or getting too greedy and, or whatever you were doing.
Does that cut both ways? You say there are more ways to get it right, or there are also therefore more ways to get it wrong?
Very possibly, right? Especially when, there are so many cards for the various classes. It feels like there's way more. There's also a lot more ways to like cross pollinate, which was like very barely possible in the first game. There's definitely a lot more emphasis on like, hey, here's a couple of cards from the other class, or here's a bunch of the colorless cards that all the classes can see, right? Like there's a lot more of those that you can get into. And because those do things that, the silent might not have access to or whatever, you're going to get weird effects. And then those things can be really powerful early on, but then once your deck gets bigger, it kind of isn't as good anymore. And so then, your engine kind of peters out or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, so it just I haven't figured the balance. I felt like I knew the balance in the first game, and I was able to win not every time, but semi consistently. And it feels like I haven't found exactly how to balance this one. It's like, at some point, should I just like stop taking card rewards and just be like, I'm good?
Yeah, deck thinning, man. We've always been a proponent.
Yeah, so like yes, but then also like when they offer you 3 like really awesome cards, like
Yeah.
if the engine is working good now, but like, is it going to be strong enough when you get to the top of Act 3? I don't know. Like, maybe if you're completely overpowered, yes, right? But I never have felt that strong,
Sure.
So, or the something that's new in Slay the Spire 2 is at the beginning of each act, you meet an ancient, like you did at the beginning of the game, and he would give you a trinket or whatever. of the first one, right? Like you talk to the guy, he's like, oh, you get like one random thing. And then it's like some extra money or take a card out, add a card, do something, small. And the ancients that you meet in Slay the Spire 2 as you go up are like, have way different kind of effects, but they can change your deck in like very drastic ways. And those might like completely change your build and you're starting Act 3, It's like, oh, take all the strikes out of your deck and replace them with this other card. It's like, oh, well, shoot, I just removed 6 cards, but I got these other 6 cards now. What do they do, right?
Right.
So, it can be, and you don't know how good that stuff is until you try it out. And so you kind of got to throw some runs away. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I can go look up like best builds or whatever, but that's no fun, right? That's the fun of the game.
Yeah, working it out.
So, I've been really enjoying that time. Have you been playing anything this week, Michael?
I've gotten some more good time to play Hollow Knight. That has been good.
Ooh, okay.
So I made my way out to the far side of the map. I got out to Kingdom's Edge.
Ooh, okay. You got all the way out there.
Yes, I got all the way out there to Kingdom's Edge. I found Hornet again out there and beat her again to acquire the King's brand, which I haven't figured out exactly what that unlocks yet. But I'm now the king, I suppose.
Hail to the king.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Whenever he says, "Oh man,"
I know I'm in for something.
Yeah.
No. There's a lot of stuff left. I mean,
there are still big holes in the map where I know that there are places that I haven't even accessed yet.
And you did what have you done? What is your goal notionally right now?
So right now I have 2 of the 3 the white masks that get put on your map as places to find. So I found the second one of those as part of exploring out towards King's Edge. So I've got one more of those, but I'm starting to run into, I think they're called shadow gates, the like black smoke that prevents you from moving. So I haven't figured out yet or gotten what I need yet to get past those. So I'm starting to bump up against those, letting me access some of the holes in the map. So I'm feeling a little bit funneled towards that last mask on the map. But there are still some spots that I haven't gotten to explore yet.
I'm trying to remember, do you have to beat that mask before you can do the thing you were talking about? I
Get
don't
through those
recall.
Gates.
Okay. Do you want a slight spoiler?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Beating the mask guy doesn't get you that thing. That thing is somewhere else, but I don't know if you need to do the other one first or not.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, there's still a few places that I think I can go without running into one of those gates. So I've still got some exploring to do.
Yeah.
But I did. I haven't ridden it yet, but I did find it was out on the opposite edge of the map. I did get the tram pass.
Nice.
So I should be able to ride the tram now, in addition to the network, the tunnel network.
Yeah, the tram is not as useful as you want it to be, but it is good to have. So it goes some places you got to get to, so that's important.
Yep.
Cool, man.
Yeah, so definitely still exploring, still having fun with it. It is fun, and this has happened to me a couple of times now, of getting into a boss fight and just sort of hitting flow state with it.
Oh yeah.
The one that comes to mind was I fought the Mantis Lords, where you got to fight 3 of them, or you fight one and then you fight 2 of them at the same time, and they're flying across the screen in cross shapes. But I just, at one point, not many attempts into it, just got to the point where I had the jump timing down and was hitting both of them every time they crossed under me. It was just like, yep, fight done.
That's one of my favorite fights. That fight is so cool. And it's like one of the first big, like, hey, like, there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. Are you ready? You know?
Yes, it definitely felt
Mhm.
like a jump in difficulty from the fights up to that point.
You know, it makes use of the wall hang mechanic and all the stuff that you get in that area. Like, it's really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great fight. Have you found the arena? Do you know what I'm
No,
talking
I
about?
have not found the arena yet.
Okay. There is an arena. You'll find out what that's about whenever you get to it.
Okay, I think I knew that there was an arena, but I have not found it.
Cool. Yeah, there's some good fights in there too. So,
Okay.
I don't think there's anything important behind it. I don't remember what you get. There's an achievement for beating all of the arena things, but like,
Ah, of
okay,
course.
who cares? Is always an achievement, right?
Right.
Cool, man. Sounds like you're making good progress. Uh, Before we change off video games, just a couple of little nuggets of things that have been happening out there. Michael, did you say there was they're making a new Professor Layton? How many
Y
years has it been?
Oh, goodness. I don't even remember when the last one came out. Around COVID time, maybe? Um, so when did Unwound Future come out? Uh, was that the last one? Maybe. It couldn't have been. Unwound Future was 2008. But yes, so there is at long last, there is a new Professor Layton game coming out, like mainline game. So they did their original 6, which were kind of in 2 big trilogies. There was the original trilogy, and there was the prequel trilogy.
Right.
Um,
Didn't they also have a spin-off series
they did some
I think
different
that's
games in there. They
true.
did a mobile
with
game.
the kid or the daughter or something like that?
No, I think he's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That was the most recent one to come out. Catrielle was her name. And
Yeah,
I'm not going to remember the full name of the game, but yes, um, that one came out just before COVID, I think.
that's probably the most
Um,
recent.
yes, yeah, that's the most recent, but that's been 7, 8 years now.
Yeah. Jeez.
Um, so yeah, they're coming out with
People are
more.
ready to puzzle again.
Oh, people is me. So the announcement got made a while back that it was coming, but this just in the past week they put out a beefy new story trailer that gives some hints at what the story is going to be like in this new story. It announces a bunch of the voice talent, at least for the Japanese version. It announces a bunch of the voice talent. But maybe most exciting for me was at the very end of it, they announced that not only would it be coming out on Nintendo platforms, but it was also going to be coming to Steam.
All right. I think some of the Layton games are on Steam now, but not certainly all of them.
It's a Capcom game.
Didn't actually look. It's what who?
Isn't it a Capcom game?
Level 5.
Oh, it's probably
Level
like
5 is the developer and
released
publisher.
by Capcom.
I feel like a lot of them started coming out on the DS and the 3DS. So like
Oh, a lot of
Yes.
them, if not all
Yeah,
of
they
them.
did. I think that's where they started. They got their
Yeah.
start on the DS.
Yeah, I don't see Professor Layton on the Steam store.
No, but I think the original trilogy is on mobile. I think you could find it in like the Apple Store.
Hmm.
okay,
Because I know
well,
they put Catriel out on iOS and Android.
so that's an interesting move. Then that means maybe they're moving to more normal control schemes, so they're not going to have so much emphasis on touch stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to say because it's also coming out it's coming out on Steam, but it's also coming out on PS5.
I guess you could do touch stuff there with the center of the controller, but most people don't.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
So
like
the
Steam
touch
can't
options
guarantee
there
you
are
have any of that.
right. You might just be playing on a desktop, so um, there have to be options for multiple control schemes.
Very
So
interesting.
I'm curious to see how they implement that across the different platforms. Um, but the story trailer looked really good, right? It's a Professor Layton game with all the quirky story and fun puzzles that defined all the previous ones. So hopefully this one is just as successful. It's supposed to. There's not an exact date, but it's coming out this year.
I love to hear about things coming out this year.
You have so much time.
Speaking of things that had sweet trailers drop since we talked about them last, Castlevania Belmont's Curse, you guys?
Oh yeah, we saw some really cool gameplay out of that one.
It's definitely a woman.
I think Andy is right.
I agree with that as well.
But much more importantly, Andy, they said it's not a roguelike.
Hooray!
Officially confirmed.
Hooray!
Pop the party
Pop the
poppers.
champagne.
Yeah, everything is ready. That's very exciting. The combat looks pretty cool. They're definitely showing Metroidvania-y type, almost Richter-like movements for those people who've played some of those games, you know?
I wonder if that relates to who she could be.
Yes. Very, very curious. Also, they showed like a sweet-looking boss fighting like evil undead Joan of Arc and stuff. Like this,
that
dude,
looked very cool.
Yeah, this game looks really cool, man. I watched someone's reaction to that trailer, and someone was like, "Oh, is that Jeanne d'Arc from the tactics game Jeanne d'Arc?" And everyone is like, "What the hell are you talking about, dude?" And he's like,
"That reference was meant for me."
I know. I laughed, and he's like, "Yeah, it's that game." They're like, "It's Joan of Arc," and he's like, "No,
yeah, Jeanne d'Arc." yeah, Jeanne d'Arc.
Yeah, I knew Andy would get a kick out of that.
Oh man,
that reference.
JJ, was it you who sent Andy and I the Transylvania?
Oh yeah, dude, that has to be.
That made me laugh.
I wish I came up with that, but it's so real, right? Like,
yeah, 100%.
Perfect name.
Can't wait for that. That looks really good. Also, supposedly this year.
Yep. We're eating good.
Yeah, some good stuff coming out. Also, in the world of other things I've been doing, I finished that Maltese Falcon book. I think we talked about it before.
Oh, the sequel.
I finished the original.
So you were reading the original.
Right? Are you reading the sequel?
I probably will. I think my wife wants to read it first, but so it might be a little while before I get to it.
I see. Did you watch the movie?
Not yet. I have it, but we will watch it. It's got to be
on the docket.
Yeah, we're going to watch it for sure.
Mr. Humphrey is waiting for you.
Yes. Very curious about that movie because I, remembered things about movies in those days. The Hays Code was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of drinking and smoking and shooting and things they probably didn't let them have in movies during those times.
Well, smoking was not immoral, and neither was drinking.
Prohibition had only ended, 10 years before this or something, right? When the movie was made.
Okay.
There's still a lot of people not down with it, and certainly it was illegal during the time the books were the time it takes place, which is something else I hadn't thought about. It's like this book was written in the late 20s, early 30s. Prohibition was on. Why does everyone have bottles of alcohol all over the place?
Because it was written then, about a time before then.
Maybe. I mean, it says it takes place in like the late 1920s, so there should have been, it should have been illegal, but maybe just shows that prohibition wasn't really working that good some places.
I think sadly the thing about the Hays Code is that it was bendable, especially for people that had an image, right? If they were a smoker, they were a smoker, and they had that image or whatever.
And Sam Spade was a drinker, so he has to be drinking or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, but no one was immune to the rules of. God, dude, you should read some of the Hays rules. They're,
I'm sure they're very silly.
They're not even vaguely racist.
Oh yeah. The and of course there's no sex in the book. There's definitely he's making her breakfast the next morning kind of stuff, which I'm sure that did not fly at all.
Through open window.
Yeah, totally. A lot of like
pan to the starry night, curtains flowing.
Right. Cut back, they're smoking cigarettes, right? Like all that. It's very much that stuff, which I'm sure will absolutely not be in the movie. Can't smoke cigarettes like that. That's scandalous.
Probably.
So anyway, I'm excited to get to that. But that's the books I've been reading. Michael, did you get more into any books?
Oh yeah, I mean, picking up where we left off last time. So I had finished Dragons of Deceit, the new book in the latest Dragonlance trilogy, and I am very quickly sunk hip deep into book 2, Dragons of Fate. So I'm nearly halfway through it at this point.
How?
I mean, it's these books have always been very quick reads. When you get into the rhythm of how they go, and you can tell from the previous book to this book that they really sort of found their stride again. The first book, especially looking back now reading the second book, the first book feels a lot like knocking the rust off.
All right.
And this time around, the chain's been oiled. There's a little extra air in the tires, and we're really riding along. Even all the moments where they take a little bit of time to inject lore that wasn't relevant to the first book in the story, those moments feel streamlined in a way that they didn't necessarily in the first book.
Yeah, I think the story really starts going in the second book for sure. So you're feeling it, you're liking it, you're enjoying where it's going.
I am, and I like that they picked. So we'll touch on this in a second, Andy. There's time travel involved as part of the plot.
Oh no!
But they picked an era.
Time travel old hat to this series. I just want to say it's happened a bunch of times.
This is not a new thing. But they picked an era that is much talked about and held in very high regard, but due to historical catastrophes in the intervening time, much firsthand accounts of have been lost. And so it lets them take these two very, very famous historical characters and build out a story around them that doesn't that hasn't been fleshed out before, really, without really having to change much in the way of details of all the stories that people already know. But they have kind of an interesting approach to time travel. We've talked before, other books, other movies, about the thorny issues that time travel creates for storytellers, right? And I like the way in this that they treat time like a river. They keep coming back to this same analogy, the river of time.
It's the metaphor they use a lot.
And it is very forgiving of changes that might happen, right? So a person can go back in time and make small changes, and it might be just a drop of water in the river, right? The river will continue to flow and is very hard to move from its course unless you do something catastrophically large.
So anti-butterfly effect theory here.
Almost, yeah. But also it makes for a scenario where when people go back in time, even if things do start to change, it doesn't immediately impact the future. You are literally downstream. And so if the river upstream of you starts to swell or spills over its banks, it takes time for that effect to cascade down to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a very interesting scene where the characters in the quote unquote present open up a history book that has suddenly gone blank, and they're watching history be written into the book from the past.
Huh.
And again, they don't, it's still a series where there's magic and gods and all sorts of things. They're not really super interested in like the mechanics of how this works,
Right. It's not super germane to the story of how it works. But it's
But it does
definitely
create like interesting pressure and time, crunches, and the characters are forced to do things within certain windows or whatever, lest the river of time, overflow them and the changes become unreversible or something like that, right?
right.
Mhm.
But it also means that it can be a lot more forgiving with how rigid they have to be about it. Right? They can say, "Oh, this happened, but it wasn't enough to change the course of the river." So they don't have to watch and make sure that every little action doesn't have, as you said, Andy, the butterfly effect.
It's very anti that theory, right? Tiny
Yeah.
steps.
It's
And
very, very elastic.
one of the things they use it for is like, you're going back to a historical era. Michael said, there's not a lot of firsthand knowledge, out there, but there have been some accounts in other books, right? Like information is known about what happens and places that people are on certain days and certain times and certain things or whatever. And if those things change, well, changed only a little bit. The ideas are still the same, right?
Right.
So it allows them to retcon their own stuff if they want in small little ways without, overriding the entire narratives.
Do they account for characters understanding things have changed, or are they just things are always the way they were kind of situation?
They do go into a little bit about how downstream is impacted and how character and what characters will or won't remember if and when they get back to their own time.
Mhm.
So they do try and account for those kinds of questions.
Yeah, I think only with a couple of exceptions are there weird cases of like, the entire world changing because of some, historic monumental effect that's different, right? And then having to go back and put it right or fix it or that kind of stuff then becomes the quest, right?
Right.
But that's great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The third book awaits you, of course.
It does. And it will be sooner rather than later at this point.
Very exciting. I didn't really get up to much else. Have you been watching some movies over there, Andy? Because it seems like I'm out of stuff to talk about. Didn't have a good transition there.
That's okay. We're gonna time travel back to when the Godzilla attacked New York last,
1999.
or
It's not a
minus
good.
0.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, 1999 Godzilla is not a good movie, Andy.
No, but apparently the Japanese have decided they can do it better.
Good.
So they're
Please.
gonna make Godzilla minus 0. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I heard the name and didn't read anything else.
So direct sequel to minus 1, same franchise, same director.
Rad.
And they were like, you know what? Let's stop blowing up Japan. Let's blow up New York or whatever.
Hey, yeah, move locations. Why should they have all the fun?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
let's
mean-
do it.
We deserve it.
So I think that's coming out at the end of this year, and it's the first. I think this is right. I think it's the first Godzilla film from Toho actually only ever filmed for IMAX.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so they're decently invested in the success of this thing. It just looked really. I saw some stills and I saw some stuff about where it was going to take place. I was already sold, so I'm not going to watch a trailer, obviously. But I thought it was cool to see that minus 1 didn't just like disappear into the ether as a amazing thing that people loved. And
I was going to say, you did see
you know.
minus 1, right? Yes. Okay, good.
Yes, I have not seen minus 1 minus C.
Yeah, so that I have heard is actually also very awesome, but I have not seen it either. The like black and white version of minus 1.
Yeah. But -1 was famously one of those ones that was like $15 million, and people said, what? How did you do this? There's no possible way. So
And then it ruled.
yeah, pretty dang good. So it should be back as its old self, but I thought that was cool. Anyway, I saw that randomly while I was looking for information about John Wick 5.
5.
Oh, they're coming back.
So, well, I was wondering if it was coming back because I watched all John Wicks in a row over the last couple weeks.
That's a lot of John Wicks. Why?
No, it isn't. It's 5 John Wicks. I did
4
not
and a
watch
spinoff?
4 and a spinoff. I did not watch the Continental show,
Okay.
which was like 8 episodes long of nothing. As far as I understand, I read the synopsis and I was like, well, this is silly and
Not necessary, yeah.
not necessary.
I have not seen the spinoff. Is the spinoff good?
Well,
It exists.
well,
So the 4 John Wick movies then.
you know, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but one of the things I always liked about John Wick was that the quote unquote bad guys made some sense. Like they're criminals and they're being mean and they're doing criminal things and they're not nice
Mhm.
people, and obviously they make dumb decisions as criminals do. But in that, so the spinoff's called Ballerina, which is a reference to the Roma Ruska, which is John Wick's quote unquote family. The
Sure,
woman who
yep.
teaches all the ballerinas or whatever
Right, yeah.
in New York. That movie has a cult leader as the bad guy, and the storyline is literally bad cult leader is bad, and that's kind of it.
Oh, I was going to say, and?
Okay.
And that's kind of it. Yeah, I mean, literally, like hilariously comically, one single track mind bad without any remorse, right? Like, you remember John Wick 1, where like it's just going on and like they're going back and forth and they're just, getting revenge and this and that. And at a certain point, spoiler for God, John Wick's got to be a 15-year-old movie at this point, right?
Oh, at least, yeah.
At least.
Spoiler for John Wick, where he gets the upper hand and he's like, all right, you gotta give me your son, dude. And like then it's over. The war is over. You hand your son over for revenge and it's over. And the bad guy struggles with it and then eventually does it.
Mhm.
Right.
The exact opposite moment is presented in this movie, and like hilariously this bad guy murders his own kid without even thinking about it. And you're just like, this is not, there's no character writing here at all. Like at all. The main character doesn't change at all. John Wick shows up very randomly, that if you throw it in the timeline doesn't make any sense.
Well, Andy, let me tell you who showed up in a trailer for that movie.
Uh-huh.
John Wick.
Yeah. See, there you go. It was cool. So there was some stuff that made a lot of sense. Like the movie takes place during the third movie of John Wick. And
Okay.
there was
a lot of stuff happens there, so.
There's a lot of overlap with like, oh, that's really cool. She was like in the background of the scene, or like not really, but like they worked it so that it was in the back. And then at the end, towards the end, it's like, and John's here to finish the movie. And you're like, no.
Wait,
No,
why?
no. Yeah, no. Anyway, that ballerina movie was all right enough, but I wouldn't recommend it. But 4 was weird. Can I talk about it without ruining it? I don't. You guys didn't see it, huh?
I've seen it.
Oh.
I have not.
You're
Can
not
I
gonna be
talk
able to
about
talk
like
about the ending at all.
film? No. The filmmaking of it. Can I talk about that part? Or I don't know.
I'm interested, but yeah, I don't want to. If Michael doesn't want to get ruined, we can divert, I guess.
You can go into it if you want to.
There's a technical thing that happens. Do you remember that Doom movie from forever ago?
Which Doom?
DOOM Doom
Oh,
with
okay.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
The one that does like a first-person shooter sequence for a little bit.
Exactly, that is what I want to talk about. The John Wick 4 movie also has a video game sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I thought everything that was wrong and that they wanted to be right about that Doom sequence was solved by that John Wick sequence.
Oh, okay. So in a better way. Okay.
It turns into an isometric almost tactics top-down situation, Michael. The choreography that John Wick's movies are famous for is like on double display, as well as feeling like you're kind of outside the experience for the first time. It's a very visceral filmmaking, a John Wick movie, right? There's a scene where they shoot it from a low angle, and you watch John fall out of a window and hit a car in this one.
Okay.
And like the camera even shudders a tiny bit, and you feel it when he hits the car and dents it and all that sort of stuff. It's like visceral filmmaking. The fight scenes are visceral. Everything is tightly choreographed and doesn't kind of usually leave the frame.
Okay. Yeah.
This like bounces out, so you can see 5 or 6 people all moving at the same time in an isolated environment, and shows what the movements are going to be before they happen, instead of just like these fights where you're like, oh, that was cool how they did that. Afterwards you're like, oh my god, I see what he's going to do next. Oh my god, I see what he's going to do next. And you feel like you're almost driving the character in that video game style that Doom was trying to create.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you didn't have this experience, Andy, but the scene that you're talking about, I felt like he was playing Hitman.
1,000%. I get it.
I was playing Hitman.
Yes.
Right? Where it's
Yes.
like, oh, okay, that guy's the next target. And then, it's like he's moving and he's doing, it's like.
And that's what I think the Doom movie got wrong, was they almost turned it into a 3D a gotcha shock thing, because the like Doom, things would pop out of places and do stuff in the first person view and jump at you and do all that sort of thing, but it ended up hokey, right? Whereas the Hitman experience is more like, oh my god, is John gonna jump the wall? Is he gonna? What's he gonna bounce off this back? Like, can he throw a grenade off the back wall of this tactics map? I don't know. Oh, I gotta stop at this body and reload or whatever. Very, very cool sequence. Very smart to go 4 movies in and be like, we really have to do something different and new, and find that way of filmmaking. I'm sure there are cuts and cool stitching effects that are happening there in order to do it, but it has a one cut effect on it, right? Where it's just top
I was
down.
going to say, it looks like one shot, but I don't
Mhm.
think that it was, because like notably the set would be huge.
It would be impossible, I would think.
But it's really cool. Like, it is really, really cool.
Yeah. And done before crazy AI would have been a part of trying to do some of this type of stuff. So yeah, there would be CG involved, but the amount of work and training and choreographing and planning in order to do this scene and stitch it all together would have been a lot of work.
Yeah. Good of them to keep, pushing the envelope rather than just sort of riding on the reputation of the 3 movies that already came out, right?
Well, and given what the story is in the 4th one, you're really like, you better do something cool, man, because
there's some cool stuff happening.
The stairs was a very good idea.
The stairs is extremely cool.
Good idea.
Yeah. I think well, we're not going to talk about the story, so I'm not going to say anything else. But the stairs
Well,
are very sweet, and that whole like ending of that movie is also pretty cool.
yeah. Did you? There is an after credits as well.
Yeah,
So
I'm aware. So I think.
hold on, take it away there, JJ. I gotta step away.
Oh, okay. Let's see, where do I want to go? All right. Well, we're getting close to the end here, but I think we got time for like one more topic. Michael, you were talking about Nintendo is laying traps for people. What does
Oh,
this mean?
this is very funny. So Nintendo, I don't know how much you have been following the news and more particularly the rumor mill in the last couple of weeks, but Nintendo's entire summer and fall slate, maybe the rest of their year, got leaked by a very prominent Nintendo leaker a couple of weeks ago. And apparently, there were a lot of higher ups at the company. This is just sort of insider rumors, but a lot of the higher ups at the company were very angered by having the element of surprise taken away, which is a big part of Nintendo's announcements are that they like to keep things under wraps until they're pretty close with them, at which point they control the time and the place for how they share that with the public. And so I got a news alert this afternoon about some new steps that Nintendo might possibly be taking to try and combat some of this. And like all things, there, Nintendo's not going to come out and say any of this. So grain of salt. But are you familiar with the idea of a canary trap?
Oh yeah.
Right. So the kind of spycraft, right? Someone in your organization is leaking information, but you don't know who it is. So you give each of them a juicy piece of news, but the details are a little bit different for each person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you wait and you see which version of the leak shows up in the public domain.
Hollywood does this with secret ways of marking scripts, where when they hand out scripts to people, if
I
you
bet. Yep.
yeah, they have secret ways of marking these so that they know who leaked them if the scripts get leaked.
This is done with a lot of things, even screeners for films, digital images. Yes, like Andy said, scripts. But you can do it with anything. Like if you're applying the right kind of tech tools to the job.
Yes. So I had to laugh because I saw that the news alert pop up that this is apparently the strategy that Nintendo has decided to implement to try and combat leaks, which news was also revealed in a leak.
The interesting thing is that that strategy is not super effective when people know that you're doing it.
Turns out, yes.
Yeah, very funny. Um, have the leaks slowed down?
I have not seen anything in the wake of the big one that came out, just sort of spoiling their slate. I'm sure that they are sort of regrouping and deciding how they want to approach their news for the rest of the year.
Dude, some of the stuff in this slate is fire.
If
Really good.
if it comes out,
I'm
yeah.
I'm getting
There's
a
always
Switch too if some of this is true.
there's always so much wish casting in these things, though. I rarely believe it. But do you have the list up? Tell me, read
I
me some of them.
do. Ocarina of Time remake for Switch 2, Ocarina of Time special edition console, Star Fox new game for Switch 2, new Splatoon, which people will care about, uh, a new Wii Sports, which people will care about, Devil May Cry 5, Super Metroid remake,
Yep. There was a new
uh,
Fire Emblem in
new
there.
Fire Emblem, new 3D
Uh,
Mario, new Xenoblade remake,
two
maybe?
Switch edition for Xenoblade 2.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the one that like started the original Switch, I think.
Yep. A new Wario Land game. There hasn't been one of those for a while.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
This must be like, there's no way Nintendo has this many games ready, though. A bunch of these must be like in development kind of
In the
situation.
Some of these
pipeline,
say
yeah.
2027 on them.
Yes.
But that'd be pretty hype. Like, I know obviously people would pop for an Ocarina remake.
I mean,
a
Super
new Star
Metroid
Fox.
remake, Star Fox game, and Ocarina would get me to buy a Switch 2. Just those three.
Sure. I mean, I think I would probably buy. There's probably enough there if 2 of those 3 hit that I would probably buy 1 too.
Yeah, that's your tipping point.
Oh, and a new. What was it? Pikmin. Was it Pikmin?
Yes, and Pikmin 4, Switch 2 edition.
Yeah, that game already exists, though. Right?
Oh, okay. I thought it was a new Pikmin. Sorry.
Yeah, Pikmin 4 and Xenoblade 2 are already out there. So, but
Okay.
I mean, those are still not nothing, man. Those are good games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Switch 2 editions don't get me super hyped, but new games that are Switch 2 related would.
But Switch 2 needs anything now, so I think they'll, the people out there are thirsty. They could probably they'll take a remaster.
Yeah.
DMC 5 I think also is already out. Right? That's a thing that's already been out for a while.
I think so. But yeah, you got to wonder if, given the landscape, if the leaks in the long run don't wind up doing Nintendo more good than harm.
I think they need to start hyping I don't think they're in trouble, but like video games in general, in that landscape, the AAA quote unquote landscape, are all following roughly the same trajectory, thanks to the overarching Microsofts and EAs just sort of floundering after buying everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that even Nintendo's sales are down.
I mean, the cost of gestures broadly can't be helping anyone in anything. It's a tough time to be in the gaming industry right now, I would say, given that there's no question that luxuries are always the first thing to go in major economic downturns, right? Like,
I mean, everyone's raised their cost for their consoles, and I think Nintendo said they cut their production by like 30%. That's not good.
Yep. Not just the consoles, but the games too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have the console, the game is now more expensive to buy.
I don't think game prices are that wacky out of control. I don't think people know or used to remember that games were $100. When we were young, games were really actually quite expensive, and we've all forgotten. But it's not a good sign when the model is to make lots of games and lots of consoles and turn and turn and turn, and that model's not currently online.
Right. That's the real problem, right? Is like the development costs of these games. Even if you raised the price of all these games to $100, which they can't do, but if they did, it still wouldn't help. Like, they need to sell the millions and millions and millions of copies, and they can't do that if the price is $100.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't help then if the PlayStation is going to be $600 for the first one and $1,000 for the top end one or whatever. Like,
Good luck.
this is just not sustainable, right?
Right.
So yeah, tough times out there in the gaming industry.
Well, hopefully everyone remembered to file their taxes, because that's the only way we're going to be affording anything, is if we get refunds.
The rule of taxing is always to spend exactly the right amount and get no refund if you're doing your best job, right?
True.
Yep.
So remember that, folks. You out there, if you get $0 back, you did the perfect job.
You're doing it right.
It's effectively impossible, but you can try.
I would say it's not just effectively; it is literally. There's no way to get it exactly right.
Yeah,
no way. It's such a black box of insanity. And
that
God forbid
it's true.
God forbid you change your monetary donations $1 or $2. The whole thing goes out of whack.
It would take a better computer than mine to figure out what doing that does to all the rest of the calculations.
Just
Not
put it
gonna
all in
figure it out.
Grok. Let it do your taxes for you, right?
Yeah, what could go
Sure.
wrong?
What
Yeah,
could
I'm
go
sure that
wrong?
won't have legal consequences.
This is not legal advice, nor should you listen to anyone except an authorized tax preparer.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you want non-tax advice, Michael, where could they get that?
If you want to offer to do our taxes, you should email us at
I'm not-
podcast@WeWereGamers.
Nope.
I meant not personal. I meant the podcast's taxes.
Yeah, sure.
You can also message us at
They can send us that if they want
Yeah.
to, you know.
Facebook and Blue Sky at We Were Gamers on all those social media places, and go check out our YouTube, youtube.com/@WeWereGamers.